Okay, so I'm here with the Bradford City Reserve Team manager, Manny Mehmood. How are you, Manny?
Yeah, I'm good.
How old were you when you first started playing football?
So when I first started playing football, I was about, if I'm honest, I was about 12 years old. I started my career a bit late. I did play when I was a bit younger, but I wasn't playing as much, but then I started playing in goal. And around about when I was about 18, 19, I had a bad injury on my shoulder, so obviously that stopped me from playing. But I was lucky to work with a coach called Luke Swindlehurst, and we went on a trip to Finland. And I fell out of love with the game a bit. We did a bit of coaching there for 2 weeks in Finland with the kids. And I started liking coaching. We're like, oh yeah, get into coaching. So from there on, I started getting into coaching. So I dropped out playing when I was about 19 years old.
What's your earliest footballing memory?
My earliest footballing memory probably was football playing wise. I didn't really have much memories, if I'm honest. Like just playing football, you enjoy it, everyone loves it. But my earliest memory probably was winning the title in my first year with Craven College. We won the league title in my first year of coaching, so that was my probably best memory, earliest.
Who was your footballing hero growing up?
My footballing hero, I'm a Chelsea fan, so my footballing hero was Frank Lampard, and now I'm lucky enough that he's the manager of my football club, Chelsea.
When you were younger, did you watch any other sports or play any other sports, or was your mind always set on football?
I'm a big fan of boxing, cricket, but the main sport I do follow is football, but I love boxing and cricket.
Would you say that ladies' football is different to men's football? If so, how?
I would say it's different, but in its own ways, it has a difference. So, for example, I think that the coaching the ladies is a lot more better than coaching the men's team. They listen to you a lot more tactically and everything. But there is a lot of differences, like the speed of the game, how fast the pace is, etc. There is quite a lot of differences, but not too much. I wouldn't say there's too much of a difference.
How would you say that ladies' football's changed over the last 10 years?
Oh, the last 10 years it's changed a lot. There's a lot of like new clubs coming in now. A lot of more money's getting invested by the men's side. A lot of more advertisement, and even some of the clubs now, for example, West Ham Ladies the other day, they've got their own training ground now. So the owners are backing the ladies' football, and it's getting bigger and bigger throughout the next 10 years. It'll be massive for women's football. It's just getting bigger and bigger.
Recently, the Women's FA Cup final has been played at Wembley, and so has a few of the England ladies' games, rather than doing tours of different grounds throughout over the country. How do you feel this has impacted on the women's game?
Yeah, I think that's massive for the women's game. Playing in Wembley in front of where there's 90,000 people can sit in there. They've had a crowd, I think, of was it 70,000, 60,000 down there. So it's massive for them. Psychologically, it's big for the women's football and for the players as well.
Do you think it inspires the younger generation of girls to come and play football, to play at Wembley as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like when you're young, when you see all this stuff, you're like, oh, I want to make it one day. And seeing stuff like this where ladies are playing at Wembley, it'll be great for the younger generation. And hopefully, I do wish that a lot of the younger players now get into football and try to make it up there.
Have players like Steph Horton, Farrah Williams, Ellen White, Frank Kirby inspired girls to want to play football at the highest level possible, rather than just do stereotypically female jobs like nurses?
Yeah, definitely. Farrah Williams, Frank Kirby, all these they're big footballers. They've had a good career, especially Farrah Williams. I'm lucky to meet her, have a chat with her before, and they have inspired younger people. But it's one of the main things I personally think is when you're young, if you don't get the support from your parents, where, for example, on a Tuesday and a Thursday you're training, if you can make one session, you can't make the other because your parents are working, for example, you're not going to develop as much and you're not going to get as far. So that's why the parents' support is really important. But them players have impacted them a lot, and I think there will be a lot more players coming up now in the future.
How important is it to have female footballers as role models for young girls playing sports?
Yeah, it's really important to have role models. Someone to look up to. For example, me, I look up to Frank Lampard, and now he's become a coach. So it's same for the female side. If they have someone to look up to and follow, and even if they want to play the way they play, or they want to have the same personality or stuff like that, it's really important for the younger generation.
Female footballers get paid a fraction of the wage that male footballers get paid. Say, for example, Steph Horton at Man City and John Stones. They're both Man City defenders. They're both England internationals. But Horton gets paid a fraction of the wage that Stones does. Why do you think this is?
I think it's growing at the moment. Obviously, like men's football's been around for ages and it's growing slowly, and the women are getting slowly starting to get paid more. But we need to remember about the sponsorship. The men's football gets sponsored. Their sponsors play. For example, Ronaldo, if he does an Instagram post, he'll get £1 million for it. So I think sponsorship is the big side of it. But I do wish that the women's footballers do start getting paid a lot more than they do, because they deserve it, what they are doing for their countries, for the local clubs like Manchester City, Chelsea ladies, Arsenal ladies, etc.
What do you think about the salary that both players get paid, like men and women? Do you think it's fair for what they do, or?
It's a tough one that I think I would say what the men get paid, they should get paid, but what the women get paid, they shouldn't get paid. They should get paid a lot higher, if you know what I mean. So the women should get paid a lot higher than they do. And like I said before, in the coming years, with the chairman's backing of the men's side, like Club the Chairman, if they start backing them, they will get paid a lot more, and hopefully, I wish to do.
What changes would you make to women's football to make it more like the men's football and improve it?
Well, I think one of the like things I wanted to like football to become is where you buy the season ticket for the men's, you get the women's season ticket with it, so it'll grow the game a lot more. There'll be a lot more fans there. They do get a lot of fans, but if you want more fans there, that's some good way to do it, because a lot of the people who support the men's team, a minority will come down to support the women's team. I think that's not right. You need to support everyone in that club. We're all one club. For example, let's give an example like Chelsea football ladies and Chelsea football men's. We're all one club, and if the men's side, where there's 50,000 people in the stadium, if 25,000 came on a Sunday to watch the ladies, that'll be just a great achievement for them. It'll pump them up, and it'll grow the women's game a lot more, and they'll get a lot more money coming in as well.
You're on about money there, like in Chelsea ladies, and about 25,000 coming in. At the minute, Chelsea ground share with AFC Wimbledon, which is what, 3,000?
Yeah, 3,000.
So they'd have to like improve the stadium, or maybe play at Stamford Bridge and stuff, wouldn't they?
Yeah. So obviously with Stamford Bridge, obviously, it's not as easy as that, because if Chelsea play on Sunday, then the women can't play there. So that's why, if they can find a ground where they can play, where a lot more fans can come in, that'd be good for Chelsea. But it's just about finding one, because some teams will play on Sundays, and then when you can't play there, where are you going to play? So it's quite a difficult one.
What changes would you make to football as a whole, and why?
A lot of changes can be made in football, like money-wise, we've already gone through that, sponsorship and stuff like that. But I think there's like new things coming in, like VAR, drinks breaks and stuff like that. I just think it's ruining the game personally for me. Like drinks break, why do they need a drinks break? It's not more hot. I know they've been out, but they've been training. The professional players getting paid 250 grand a week. It's just giving teams the chance to slow the game down, and the team that's on top, who's got momentum, they're going to be like, oh, drinks break. Then tactically the managers can start talking to them. So I think stuff like drinks break and VAR is a good addition to football, but it needs a lot of changes to it, because it slows the game down. For example, Chelsea versus West Ham last week. West Ham scored a goal, but it took 3.5 minutes to get it sorted, and that's a long time in football.
Why aren't women's sports given the same coverage as men's sports?
Well, I've done my actual research proposal in my university was about women's side in football, why they get treated differently to males, and I just think it's just the media. That's how the media are, and it's something we can't control. We can put stuff on social media promoting the women's game, but it's the big like media channels like Sky Sports and stuff like that. They need to start promoting it a lot more, and if they do, the game just keep growing. But it is getting better, definitely. There is a lot more media coverage than there was in the past 5 years. I think it's important now that they start carrying on and growing the game.
You know, at Bradford City women's team, how are you finding life there?
Well, life at Bradford City is just, first of all, it's just great to be at such a club like Bradford City. Like, it's obviously my local team as well, and I'm happy to be there. And it's a lot of a big difference stepping up to that level from where I was before at Skipton. And I think the stuff we work on in training is just growing me as a coach, and it's also growing the players. So we're all learning together, and hopefully this coming season we can have a successful season.
You just touched on that you were at Skipton Ladies before. What's the step up you've had to make, if you've had to make a step up from Skipton Ladies to coaching at a team like Bradford City?
So at Skipton Ladies, obviously, sometimes you might have to work on more basic stuff, but they were a very good team. We got promoted. We had a highest ever finish in Division 1. But you might have to work a bit more basic stuff. But when you're stepping up to that Bradford City level, you need to start working on more game related stuff, a lot more technical stuff like moving the ball quicker, being composed and stuff like that. But I think there is a big difference, but that's the best part about coaching, where you're coaching stuff, you might be out your comfort zone, but once you've done that session, you know, oh yeah, I know how to do this session, and then you feel comfortable. It takes time, obviously, when you're at a new team, you might be nervous, but it's just about your confidence and how you are as a person.
Do the men's team at Bradford City support and advertise the women's team? If so, how?
If I'm honest about that one, I don't know much about it, but they do help the women's team out a lot. I know we did have planned where Bradford City were playing at home against, I think was it Morecambe or someone like that. We were meant to go down to the game, go on the pitch, then carry buckets around, raise some money for the women's team. They do help us quite a lot. They do back us, and it's quite good to see.
Do you think they could do more to advertise the club, the women's team?
Yeah, I just think that's for everyone. Every men's team can do more to advertise the women's game, and it's just not Bradford. It's literally every single team that's got a women's team. They can do a lot more, and it's same for everywhere. Like even the men's team can do more to advertise themselves as well. So I think overall, yeah, they definitely can do more to advertise.
How do you think the season has gone so far?
Well, last season I was with the first team and Bradford City, and it went quite well, but we were lucky with the COVID-19 obviously because the season got voided. Chris came in halfway through the season and I joined obviously, and we was bottom of the league at the time, but we was getting better and better. We were getting wins in, so we didn't know what was going to happen obviously, whether we were going to get relegated, whether we were going to survive. But when the COVID-19 obviously hit the whole world, the season got voided. But yeah, we were doing well. We were looking good, playing some good football.
Do you think the community of Bradford can do more to advertise the women's game?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, sponsorship for the players, sponsorship boards and stuff like that. And if people can get involved with that, it'll be important for the club and for us as a club. It'll be really good for us because money is something every club needs to keep them going. As you see in Wigan Athletic, they're going into administration because of their owner, what he's done. So it's important that the local community of Bradford obviously comes down, supports the club, comes watch the game, etc. It's really good.
How does the community of Bradford support the women's team already, if they do?
So every player needs a sponsor. So for example, we've got 36 players in the first team reserve all put together. If Bradford, like a business in Bradford might sponsor one player, so if we might have 36 companies in Bradford helping us out. So and then kit sponsor, for example, for the training gear and stuff like that. So.
What's your plans for next season or when football resumes?
So we've started training now, obviously, like I have a group of 5, we rotate around, we have different sessions going on, finishing, moving the ball quick, pass and receive and stuff like that, different stuff. But in training, obviously, it's a bit hard at the moment, like coaching, we have to stay 2 meters apart. So you can't work on obviously contact stuff, you can't work on how you want your team to play and stuff like that. But when the season resumes, when the government or the FA give us the go ahead to start doing contact training, then we can start working on stuff, and hopefully we can have a successful season coming ahead.
Have you been watching football since it's resumed, and what do you make of it being played behind closed doors?
I think I've watched every single game so far because there's nothing else much to do, but I think it's a lot different behind closed doors, and one of the good things for the fans is that you can hear what the footballers say and what the coaches say. So I think it's quite important for us, like especially as a coach, it's good to hear what happens on the touchline. But it is a bit strange, but there is still a home advantage. A lot of people say there's no home advantage. There is your own pitch, your own stadium's your own stadium, but with no fans, it's completely different. There's no atmosphere behind you, so when you're down, when the other team's on top, got all possession, you haven't got your fans there to cheer you on. So it is tough for the teams, especially like the teams down in relegation, like Norwich, Aston Villa, West Ham, Watford, all these, they need their fans right now, but unfortunately they can't.
How do you think the players are coping without playing in front of fans and playing in an empty stadium?
Yeah, psychologically it's massive, but like I've said before, when you're getting paid that money, like 70, 80 grand or whatever a week, or 250, they should be able to deal with it. But your fans are your fans, you love them, don't you? And they're the ones that are going to carry you through these times. So, like I said just 2 minutes ago, the teams at the bottom need their fans right now, and hopefully next season we want their fans back in the stadiums so we can all go and watch the teams we support.
How do you think COVID-19 has changed football, and do you think it'll have a lasting effect on the sport?
Yeah, COVID-19 will have a massive impact financially on every single club, not just in England, but probably in the world. Even the likes of Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barcelona, they're all going to get impacted because you haven't got that money coming in from game days where fans are coming in, buying tickets, buying the food, going to the merchandise store, buying shirts. They're losing millions, but I think the smaller clubs down there in the Championship, League 1, League 2, I think it was really, really important for them to avoid the season in League 1 and League 2 because they were going to lose a lot of money if they carried on that season. But hopefully we don't want to see any club get into administration or fold. For example, like Bury, what happened with them, we don't want to see it because it's just not good to see.
Since the UK went into lockdown, what things have you been doing to keep yourself occupied?
Well, I do work in a school, but schools are closed, so I couldn't work there. So I just got a local job down in Steeton Co-op. That's where I work at the moment for the time being, obviously. But then when I'm back in school, but apart from that, football, just happy that it's back. Coaching, even watching football, because when the Premier League wasn't on and I couldn't coach, I just didn't know what to do. Like there was nothing to watch, nothing really to do. But quite glad now it's back.
Have you been keeping fit throughout lockdown? What have you been doing to keep fit?
I haven't really been keeping fit because gyms are closed, so you don't have the motivation when you're at home to really do it. Psychologically it's hard, but when the gyms are open it's different. But working is part of my fitness, probably stacking shelves and stuff like that, lifting heavy things just non-stop, more or less working every day, so it's quite important.
Have you binge watched any TV shows? If so, what did you watch and did you enjoy it?
I think I've watched every single programme on Netflix probably recently, but the one I enjoyed was Money Heist is recommended for anyone. Money Heist is one you need to watch.
Have you learnt any new skills or tried any new things out since you went into lockdown?
Well, yeah, one of the main things I've been doing is just developing my coaching side. So I've just been learning stuff, obviously researching, going through like how to deal with like this behaviour, player management and stuff like that. So I'm trying to learn as a coach whilst I've been at home. I haven't just been sat and doing nothing. I'm still trying to learn.
Was there anything that your coaches and managers told you that has stuck with you throughout your playing career and your career going into management?
So like I said before, I was lucky to work alongside Lee Duxbury, so Bradford City legend, most of you'll know him, and Luke Swindlers, Chris Williams, now I'm with Chris Ames, Charlotte Stewart. So I've worked with a lot of people, and they've got so much knowledge that whatever comes out of their mouth is something good and it's going to benefit you for life. So learning off them at such a young age, not many people have done that, and I'm lucky enough to have that in my career. So even stuff like in the changing rooms when they're doing the team talk, I just listen carefully. I'm like, yeah, this is good. The way they're doing it, the way they come across to the players, and it's important to learn such small things will benefit you in the future.
What tips would you give a young girl who wants to pursue a career in football?
One of the main things is just enjoy football when you're young. Commit to football, make sure you train as much as you can, and don't just train when you go to training. When you're at home, you might be in your back garden, oh, I've got a football, what can you do? Kick it against the wall, touch it, use your weak foot, get your weak foot better. And one of the main things when you're young, like I said before, is your parents. They have to support you, and when they do support you, when you get the full support non-stop, you will make it. But it's all about the psychological side. You can be as good as you want technically, tactically, even socially, you can be confident, but when it comes to psychological side, if you're weak there, you're going to struggle to make it, and that's why them four corners of the football are really important.
Thank you very much for your time.
No worries, thank you.